Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings. I hope you can hear me over the wind. There's a little bit of wind. That's why generally I raise my voice when I'm doing the videos outside. This is all about my boat and how happy I am about it at the moment. Harry's completely gone missing, and I haven't even looked him up this morning, but yesterday I looked, no sign of life there. Even though there are claims, oh, he's back in California, yeah, right. So anyway, the boat finally is conquered. So I'm going to show you my latest achievement, which is this. Now, this may not look much to you guys. And as you all know, I've been working on this top roof since last year. No one has ever done any work on this top roof. I think I'm the first person in this family to do it. And I painted it with a very expensive paint, £70 a tin. And look what the sun did to it this year. Let's have a look. Over there. So, and this morning I've just painted all this side, and I can't go any further because I have no more rollers. What I've done is I've used filler to get a nice shape on the front here. And then I fiberglassed it, very thick lamination. That's all, and I'm quite proud of that because you cannot actually see where one piece of lamination starts and another finishes, all the way along. The lines, that, if you can see the lines, that's where the pieces of wood are joined together. I could never get them totally flush. That paint, I cannot believe that the sun has blistered that. And that I only did that at the beginning of the summer. I think I did it in June, maybe May. £70 a tin. Now, this year's been particularly hot because we had a solar flare for 11 days. It was so bad. I'll just turn this around so the microphone can hear me. It was so bad, most people didn't go outside. We did not go outside. We just hid inside the boat or inside the house. 11 days of extreme heat, and then of course all the families, little kids, even tiny kids, they come out and they play till 1-2 o'clock in the morning in the summer because it's impossible. I mean, they just burn. They would burn immediately. So I wanted to, this is going to be a philosophical chat about my boat. The paint that I have used on this part of the roof is the same paint, but I mixed it 50-50 with resin and a lot of hardener, and I will be stunned if the sun can attack that, because actually that side of the boat that was just resin, that survived. It was only the paint. The paint on its own is not enough, so I figure I'm pretty safe. Well, we'll see next summer because the sun won't be strong enough to do anything to it this year. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. And of course it rained yesterday. That was a surprise. I'll just move down, further down. And there's my piece of wood that's going to go. This piece of wood here, I'll just lower that. I don't know if you can see that. That piece of wood, that goes on the front. And look at the state of the front windows. That's a whole other story. There are loads of stories to this boat. And I think I might have given you guys the wrong impression that I don't like working on boats. I love working on boats. That's my thing. That is my hobby. It's one of my favourite things, working on boats. I grew up around boats. Potter Heigham, Norfolk Broads. We had 2-day launches that were about 20 foot long. And from the age of 7, I knew how to drive them. I could dock them in the mooring, which was cut into the quay heading, without touching either side. I could manoeuvre those boats. I learnt to row when I was about 4. I've lived on boats. I've worked on boats. So boats are my thing. So, you know, don't worry. Don't sort of think, oh, you need a rest and that. My hobby is the boat. And I did see a lot of people put in the comments, boat is an acronym for bring out another 1,000. It's not actually. It really isn't. Boats don't actually cost that much money if you work on them yourself. If you pay contractors to do it, yeah, forget it. And actually, if you're in that position, you either need to be a millionaire or don't buy one. just don't buy one. But that's not the case with me. I know exactly what I'm going to do with those front windows. I've never liked them. I've never liked the shape of them. They just didn't look right. If I bring you to the front of the boat here, you'll see what I mean. Right in the bow there. So yeah, you can see the lower windows. They look great, the shape of them. But the higher up windows, I don't like the shape of them. And I never have. And they have always leaked. And the thing with the top part of the boat is, I think another owner added that on at a later date. The boat originally would not have had that wheelhouse. In fact, I'm pretty sure I met one of the old owners who said it was him who'd put that on. So I'm going to change the shape of the windows, but that's a whole other story. And last night I had a eureka moment, and I thought, I know how I can do that. I'm not taking them out. I mean, to give you just an example about boat owners, there was a fella, he's dead now. I think his boat killed him off, actually. He bought a yacht, a perfectly good little yacht, normal-sized yacht. And he was an ex-Royal Marine, and he was paranoid that... I'm conscious that you can't hear me. He was paranoid that he was going to be attacked by Somali pirates or attacked in the South China Sea or something like that. His ambition was to sail the yacht to the South China Seas because his wife was Chinese, and I think they wanted to move back there. So and it was a steel yacht. He set about, put my sunglasses on, altering the yacht, and he built a great big steel box on the top of it, and it was really the weirdest looking boat you've ever seen in your life. It was way top heavy. It was a death trap. It would have killed anybody who went to sea in it. Anyway, he paid contractors, and they did this and they did that. £100,000 later, £100,000 over the space of 1 year. The boat was in the same condition. Contractors had just ripped him off or just didn't have a fucking clue what they were doing. So yeah, people can end up in a pickle with a boat. When I started working on that roof, she's got beams that run from side to side. Big, thick mahogany beams. And what had happened is over the years, the overhang bits on the side, the sun had attacked them, and bit by bit, pieces were falling off. In fact, the long piece on this side, I heard a thud one morning, and I came out and it was laying on the lower deck, and I just thought, oh, for God's sake. But I've never really had a chance to indulge myself and play with her and work with her, and because, you know, we had kids, jobs, house, cancer, stalkers, you know, all other problems. But finally, peace and quiet, me and my girl. And yes, she is really mine. Graham's not really interested in her at all. I mean, he's starting to show an interest. Now he can see the direction it's going in, and he's like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I'm like, no, mate, you had your chance years ago. I'm going to change the shape of those front windows. What I felt was, because every year it's the sun, that is the problem down here. It just attacks. Now, some jobs I do on the boat, they're really successful and they hold. Fiberglass seems to be the most successful product that stands up to it. Paint, oh, forget it. I mean, my boss, I have learnt so much from my boss. He won't use any other paint apart from a 2-pack, which is basically it's got a hardener. Well, that's really what I've done up there. I've used the fiberglass resin and mixed the paint in with it, and it's come up lovely. And it was wonderful, actually, when it started raining yesterday, because I came and stood on the bow in the pissing rain, and I was watching that roof, and the raindrops were bouncing crystal clear about that high off it. They weren't bouncing off anybody else's boat. I mean, the rain couldn't get through it, and I thought, yes, finally. And I mean, that was all hanging off when we first bought the boat. And it looks like quite an easy thing, doesn't it? Oh, just put a bit of wood up there and nail it. No. That's 2.5 inches thick. And it's going nowhere now. Absolutely nowhere. And then it's got these decorative I mean, that was just painted. I've sanded it back. It's in 3 pieces because it was always split, and then Graham jumped down and broke the other piece. But that's great. I'm going to put the 3 pieces together and they will go on the front. I'll put more linseed oil on it to really bring the depth of the wood, and then when it goes up, I'll put a lick of fiberglass clear resin over it as well, which works a treat. If anyone out there's got a boat, forget varnish, forget it. That's going to peel. You've got to sand it down every single year, even rung seal. But fiberglass resin goes right into the wood, so all it needs is just a polish. So I've done parts of the back of the boat with that. So what happened with this boat? Let's explain. Well, look at the front of the boat there. Now, we are tethered to a pontoon. The marina this boat was originally in, that wasn't the system. It was something they call Mediterranean mooring, which meant that there was a bow line that went down into the water and was attached to a big thick chain on the seabed, which was equally attached to things that pin it to hold it in position. Now, what happens down here is in the winter we have massive storms. This marina, you could have a hurricane, nothing's going to happen to your boat in this marina, but the other marina, the way they had it, they would not only get the wind and the rain, it would create a big wave, a big roller that went down the side of the runway, and so the boats would frequently, the bow line would break, and the bow line on this boat broke loads of times before we even bought the boat. Our sun's gone in now. And the previous owner told us, I'll show you what happened. Back deck's a terrible state. You'll have to, because I've been doing DIY. Oh, I'll show you my bit of wood I was showing you the other day. Look, this is nearly ready to fiberglass. All that. I don't know if my camera angle's working, but I'm really quite pleased with that as well. But I'll show you what happens. So the front of the boat's tethered, and then the back of the boat at the old marina would be tethered about 2 meters away from the concrete pier, because you don't want your boat touching the concrete pier. Well, that's all very well, and the back ropes were always the responsibility of the owner. Bow line, responsibility of the marina. Well, as I say, on more than one occasion, bow line gave way, which meant that this boat, and I think she's about 20 tons from recollection when she was taken out of the water last, she used to have patio doors here. Boat hits the concrete, patio doors came out smashed. This was with the previous owner. Brand new jet ski that he had, hanging from the davits, crushed between a 20-ton boat plus inertia against a concrete pier. And this happened many, many times. Thankfully, the owner, the now owner of that marina, employed a fabulous guy who redesigned St Catherine's Dock, and they have worked wonders, and they've got all floating pontoons in. Oh, they've done so much there, and it's a totally different kettle of fish. I don't know who the hell designed Marina Bay in the first place. They must have been on acid or something. I don't know. But it was a nightmare, and of course, every time the boat's smashing itself to pieces. I mean, if the boat had been in perfect condition, we couldn't have afforded to buy it. But it is. I can see the way it's going now. It may look a lot to you guys, but it's not actually. A lot of work that you have to do, houses, boats, whatever, is donkey work, groundwork, and you just don't see any progress, and it's so disheartening. You feel like giving up, or you think, oh, sod it, I'm not doing it today. And then eventually you turn a corner and you think, now we're talking, now I can see progress. Right, I'll just shorten my stick a bit and go back to the front. I mean, the top roof, this up here, that was virtually gone on the overhangs, both overhangs. And yeah, Graham looked at the beams and he said, oh, we'll have to take them out, replace them. I said, you fucking mad? I think someone in the comments said that as well. I thought, well, you're fucking insane, I'm sorry, but you are. The very idea of taking the entire roof off to replace a beam that's a bit dodgy at one end, I said to him, doesn't matter, it's going to have thick marine plywood go over it, and then it's going to have very thick fiberglass, and it's going nowhere. I mean, that's what I've learned from my boss over the years. I think I mentioned it on Graham's video last night, bless them. I love all the people who've come and gone at Dolphin Safari, but I mean, a lot of them, they turn up with the attitude, put it all in the bin, start again. And I just think it's not economically viable, and actually it's not going to cure the problem. I know people with super yachts, brand spanking new, $4 million off the production line. Within 6 months, they've got a major problem. Every boat will get a problem. So unless you learn to fix problems, don't buy a boat. And a big thing that I learned from my boss is just staring. You have no idea how many hours I stared at that roof and thought, how am I going to go about this? Because I'm reasonably strong, but obviously I'm female. I'm not as strong as a man. So there are jobs that I would look at and think, I've got to go about this in a different way. And what a lot of people mean when they say, because I have seen people say, oh, bring the professionals in. What they mean is, bring a man in, innit? That's really what they mean. Because why would a woman be any less than a man if that's her thing? I think we've got in our community a couple of lady train drivers and an engineer who works on the trains. There's all kinds of you. Women are equally capable of doing things, but there is still, in this day and age, an assumption that a man can do a better job. So I sit back and I think, how can I do this where I use physics to my advantage to lift weight or do difficult jobs? And I have to pay attention. I know I do the odd pissed up video for a laugh, but I don't go up there with power tools if I feel tired, if it's very cold, if I've even had one glass of wine, because the last thing I need, age 54, is to fall off the bloody boat. I mean, it's a hell of a drop, in case you haven't seen it before. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that. It's about a 15-foot drop into the water. So that'd be no picnic, would it? Oh, I'm so proud of that white beam. And now, you see, I thought, Fiona, you've got to finish some job on the boat. At least finish one. And I thought, the pelmet, that's what I call it. Her crown, her tiara. And I felt that once I get the pieces of wood up, and that is all finished, and that'll be done in a couple of days, then at least I can look at that and it gives me some vision, and then I work my way down. Or work my way up. I'm probably going to work my way up. And it's got to be done this winter. There is going to be no more rain coming in. I thought that was quite funny last night. I mean, we managed to train it to just come in one place. We have 300 days of sunshine here. So we don't get a lot of rain. When we do, it's cats and dogs. First year we came down, they had like a 100-year storm. It rained for 100 days. Sticks like cigar sticks. 100 days without a break, just non-stop pissing down the whole time. 2010, you can look it up on the weather. It was incredible, miserable, unbelievable. But that doesn't happen very often. Once every 100 years, and I won't be here. I tell you what, that pelmet will still be there in 100 years. That is going nowhere. And then that lifted my heart. And then I thought, I know how to fix those bloody windows as well, because they're a big business and they have always leaked. But I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I think you'll be quite impressed. So I wanted you to see them in this state. I'm already taking all we've ever done is put sticky tape, well, not sticky tape, you know what I mean, gaffer tape around the windows every year to stop the rain coming in. But I had just stripped it back thinking, well, it won't rain till October. I'll have done that by the end of September, and then blow me, it goes and bloody rains on the first week of September. Incredible. But anyway, never mind. I did enjoy watching the rain bouncing off it. So, yeah, what's going on with all of you lot over there, seagulls? So, yes, boats are not about money. Boats are about energy. Invention. What is it they say? Isn't it necessity is the mother of all invention? Have I got that right? And it's so true with a boat. Because you look at a problem and you think, what's going to actually be a success working with it? Now, the other problem that's difficult down here is in this town, La Linea, which is a city, really, it's huge. There are no DIY shops. You can't buy wood here. Oh, no. You've got to go to the other side of the bay. That Palmonis, that's where the industrial estate is. And the carretera between here and there, I would say, is probably one of the most dangerous in Spain. I've driven all over Spain and I've never... Frequently people are killed on that. Frequently there are accidents. Frequently we're stuck in a tailback. We actually got stuck there and couldn't come back once because there'd been yet another accident. This town is huge. It's right next to the Rock of Gibraltar. There's loads of money, loads of commerce. Why in the heck has nobody ever opened a Leroy Merlin, a B&Q, one of those DIY stores here? It's a big downfall for the town. And one day, when I finish the boat and the house, that's when they'll open a shop. Mark my words. So, and wood is difficult here in Spain as well. And if you've got larger pieces that you need, and a very small car, you need to get it delivered. And the Leroy Merlin delivery guy, I love him to bits, but he will not drive into this marina. He won't come in because he says he'll have to pay for the ticket to get back out. And I said, no, you don't. Your service vehicles don't have... Anyway, he won't come in. So he phones me up, of course in Spanish, and I think he's Somalian, so his Spanish accent's weird. And he says he's there, so I go down in the car, but of course he's not there. He's 10 minutes away, but he lies and says he is there to make sure I'm there. So I have to sit and wait, and then we have to do this. It's almost like a drug deal at the marina entrance. We're signing all the paperwork, and he helps me put all these big pieces of wood in the car, and then I've got to limp down to the marina, and then I've got to get it from the car to the boat, which is quite a substantial walk down the pontoon. But I've got a little trolley. You know, so just buying the wood and getting it delivered, that can take up a whole day all in itself. And by then I've had it. And there was a lot of wood I had to order for that top roof. And then of course when I've got it to the boat, I've got to get it up on the top roof, and then I've got to mark it off and then take it down and jigsaw it, and which Graham helped me with last year. I don't think I could have done that part without him. I just felt so depressed. I just thought, I feel like we're going nowhere. But I mean, the reason is, it's not really been a lack of money even. It is just that there are insufficient products for sale in this town. And if you're working and you're busy and you haven't got the time for a tailback to go the other side of the bay for Palmonis to get a tub of villa or pot or whatever, or you've got to take a whole day off to deal with the Somalian guy that doesn't really speak Spanish, etc., etc. Everything's a struggle. Everything's an effort. But I mean, it really is. It's on the downward trajectory now. We've climbed the mountain, gone over the top, and we're coming down the other side. And basically, what I've done on that pelmet, that laminating, I've been laminating for years. I'm going to laminate the entire boat fresh, from front to back, the entire thing. Windows are going to be sealed. I'm not going to laminate the entire boat this winter, although I might, because I'm getting quicker and quicker at it. It actually took me 20 minutes to do the actual fiberglassing. Well, it goes off quick anyway, but I did it in 3 sections. And so I managed to get through only less rollers. I shall do the windows this winter. That's essential. I'll do those to that side of the boat this winter, and I'll probably do these front windows, the lower front windows as well. I might do this roof. I mean, I don't know, I might get more done. Oh, that's the other thing. We've got a yacht chandler's over there, and they sell this wonderful mat. It's lovely, but they don't sell the resin. The shop, this is so La Linea. The shop that sells the resin is on the other side of town, where again there are frequently traffic jams. So again, and also when I go to the boatyard, I normally walk, which means I walk all the way down the pontoon, all the way along the length of the marina, all the way past the houseboats, past the restaurant we went to last night, and all the way along here to get to the boatyard. Someone might say, why not use the dinghy? Nope, there's nowhere to tie it up, and they took the ladder away, and someone would nick it anyway. So, and then of course I've got to do the walk back. And then we've got to get in the car and go the other side of town. I mean, I could take the car, but I like the walk. But to take the car's got to go even further down a few roundabouts to come back to get to the boatyard. You know, sod that. So, nothing's easy, is it? But it is worth it in the end. And also I've got to cut a piece of reaction out of the roof, but I'll save that for another day. I'm sure you've heard enough for now. But I'm so proud of it. I'm going to go and have a look at it again. Hang on. I'll try and do this in one hit because editing is also not my forte, although I will be editing it, but I don't know if that's dry now. I mean, I painted it this morning. Oh yeah, that's gone off already with the hardener. I mean, look at that. That is going nowhere. That's fantastic. And I'm not sure I'll sit up there. Graham wants to put table and chairs and stuff. I don't know, maybe. The other thing is that made a big difference. I had no flipping ladder to get up on the roof. Now, I could have climbed up this way because I can get up here. But that's a bit awkward with power tools and pieces of wood and stuff. So I had to buy a ladder for €60, the retractable ladder at the back. So there was no ladder. So, I mean, that was a game changer. It's all little things like that. You'd be amazed at how much stuff you need. But as I say, none of it is breaks the bank. None of it is actually really expensive. That whole roof for the wood and the fiberglass, I'd estimate probably cost about €1,000 all in. And I don't think that's bad. That's a bloody big roof. That's an enormous area. Now, if I were to pay a contractor, let's say I could find a contractor, because that's another thing. I mean, anyone who's got a house who's used builders, there are good builders and bad builders. Good builders, hard to find. Marine workers, do me a favour, not in a million years. You could be looking 100 years before you find anybody who knows what they're doing. And then they would probably take 6 to 8 weeks to do a job like that. I mean, I've done it over the last 12 months because I've done it as and when I've got time and energy. But contractor would do it non-stop, and that'd take six to 8 weeks, I reckon, and probably cost £15,000 to £20,000 in labour, and then add the €1,000 on the top. So yeah, if you're the kind of person you can't laminate, you can't use a jigsaw, yeah, pay someone, and don't buy a boat. Fuck's sake, don't buy a boat. So yes, and also, I mean, just on the off chance any stalkers or trolls are watching, do you really think I've got fucking time to be setting up Twitter accounts to bother you, little no-marks, when I've got all this on my plate? I don't fucking think so. As always, everybody, thank you very much for listening. And sorry it's all been a bit haphazard. I hope you're all having a fabulous Sunday morning.